What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, it is August 7th, Monday evening, a little past 7 p.m. Central Time here. I'm going to hop into a screen share, and we're going to do another Yahoo Sports mock draft here. I'm picking from the 12 spot in this one. I did put Saquon Barkley on the thumbnail of this one. We'll try and get him if we can at the 12 spot. And again, Yahoo, half PPR. I've done a bunch of mock drafts already. I'm going to put that in the comments for you guys if you want to check out that playlist and check out your spot. I think this is my 4th or 5th Yahoo mock draft. So I do have a couple on Yahoo. Most of mine are on ESPN. And if you're watching this, I do Wednesday night live streams with the ESPN mock lobby. If you guys want to join me, 6 p.m. Central Time. I post the lobby link 15 minutes before that. So if you want to come and hang out and do some mock drafts with me, go ahead and do so on Tuesday evening. I'm going to turn the volume off this guy. And we're just about to start. So let's see what happens here. I do have the draft grid pulled up. Let me hide that, make that view a little bit better for us. And there we go. We're underway here. Looks like Justin Jefferson, the de facto 101, Jamar Chase, the 2. And I do have my rankings pulled up here, filtered by half PPR. So I'm going to kind of stay true to my rankings throughout this video. And yeah, all my stuff you guys can access at thefantasyfellowship.com. If I pull it up here, you guys can go to the website and just click on the 2023 playbook. And that's where all my rankings, projections, cheat sheets, articles, everything is listed in this 2023 playbook. So I just did a rankings and projections update today for you guys. So go check that out. Looks like we're moving in here. Wow. Christian McCaffrey went 3, Nick Chubb number 4, Travis Kelce 5, Austin Eckler, Tyreek Hill. Interesting. I haven't seen Nick Chubb go that high, but in half PPR, I do have Nick Chubb ranked pretty highly. I have him as my 6th best player in half PPR. I also have Bijan Robinson as my 5th best player in projections here. So I do like these two. I don't know if, he hasn't gone yet. So we'll see if we can get a running back to fall to us at 12. I think for where we're picking, we're probably going to want to get at the end of the turn, if there's one of those stud running backs, whether it's Barkley, Pollard, Bijan, if he's there, I think I want one of those running backs with the 12th pick, and then we'll grab the best available receiver. And if there's 2 running backs available there, I'm not afraid to do it. But I think for me, when I'm drafting the 12th spot, I've enjoyed kind of just taking a stud running back and going from there. And it looks like we did miss on Bijan. There goes Diggs. There goes Jonathan Taylor. So I get the situation to happen where I get Barkley and Tony Pollard both to fall to me. I mean, I love A.J. Brown. I'm not so interested in Derrick Henry. I think I'm more concerned about the Titans. But the Giants and the Cowboys, man, those are both really good offenses. And I think we might like the wide receivers on the comeback for us. So I think what we're going to try and do is let's go ahead and grab Saquon Barkley, who's on the cover of today's video. And then I really want to take Tony Pollard. I mean, I have Pollard ranked as my 7th best player. I do have Derrick Henry ranked ahead of Saquon Barkley, but I'm going to take Saquon Barkley and we'll grab Tony Pollard here, and we'll lock in a double running back start. And you can see over here we got Saquon and Tony Pollard. Two of the top ranked running backs on the board fell to us, so I'm pretty happy with that. Go back to the draft board view, and Tony Pollard, we took him at 2.1. CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Mark Andrews goes round 2. That might be a little bit rich for my blood, but I get it. I think Mark Andrews is more of a 3rd-round pick. I don't know if I would reach for him that high unless, you're drafting in the Baltimore area and you got to do what you got to do to get Mark Andrews. I get it. But you see a lot of running backs here. Derrick Henry being the last. I don't know if there's any more that I would take in this round. Jacobs, hopefully he gets to his team soon, but I think Jacobs might be the last running back that's worth a 2nd-round pick. I'm probably waiting for Ramondre Brees, Najee in the 3rd rounds here. And again, like I said, I like some of the receivers. Hopefully we can get some of those guys to fall to us at the 3-4 turn. But I have a feeling in this draft, we're going to like a lot of receivers as it goes. So I'm totally cool with locking in the 2 running backs there at the turn. I mean, if you wanted to go whatever you like, Saquon or Pollard, take your running back there. And if you want to get A.J. Brown, I'm cool with it. I think A.J. Brown and the Eagles are a pretty good offense this year, so I understand that. We see Garrett Wilson go at 2.7, Mahomes and Josh Allen. So Matt here in the 5, he's got the Kelce Mahomes stack, so that is pretty appealing to do this year, and it's pretty easy to line up. So I like the stack there. Nick Chubb paired with Josh Allen. We'll see what kind of receivers he gets here at the 3.4. But we're just finishing up the 2nd round here. We'll see what we can get for wide receivers to fall to us. And all 3 QBs go in a row. Mahomes, Allen, Jalen Hurts. My rule lately for one QB leagues is I want to be the last person to take a quarterback because I don't really see that much difference in that range. I think the top three guys are the clear top three guys. I do like, Lamar, Fields, Herbert, Burrow, and Trevor Lawrence. Like I like that group a lot. So if I can get one of those guys to fall, I'll consider it. But otherwise, I think I'm waiting to be the last guy to take a quarterback in one QB leagues. Now we got a little bit of a running back run here to end the second and beginning of the third. Najee, Ramondre, and Aaron Jones. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown falling to 3.2. That is one of my favorite values. And I know it's in half PPR, but I do have Amon-Ra as my 15th ranked player here. Hopefully we get some receivers to fall to us. I mean, if Olave or DK Metcalf fall to us, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Maybe Devonta falls to us. I think that might be interesting. Otherwise, I do have a ton of running backs here that we could maybe, continue to lean in and grab one more for our flex. Tyler Lockett sighting at 3.4. That's too early for Lockett. You probably could have got him in the 5th round. But either way, that's going to push some more good players back to us. Calvin Ridley, man, is a player that I wouldn't have minded falling to us. Let's see here. We got Jamar and Jefferson here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 wide receivers off the board. The Jalen Waddle pick there in the 3rd round is one of my favorite picks. And we know he's going to get a lot of yards, a lot of targets, a lot of receptions. So that's a really nice pick. And that's probably the best pick of I like the Amon-Ra pick a lot, but Amon-Ra and Jalen Waddle, those should be your ideal 3rd round wide receivers to draft this season. And we'll see what Thomas does here. He's got the 2 wide receiver start with Tyreek and Devontae Adams. He grabs Joe Mixon. Can't go wrong with Joe Mixon there. I think he's he looks best as your running back too. But for where he's going, I think it makes sense to pull him and grab him as his running back 1. Travis Etienne goes, and I'm glad we pulled the 2 running backs because we're looking at some questionable guys here. And we are going to get the receivers to fall to us. We have Devontae, Olave, Higgins, and Metcalf all on the board. And we only have 2 picks ahead of us. So we're going to get some good wide receivers here. Looks like Joe Burrow went 3.9. And yeah, I'm glad this worked out. So you can start running back at the 12 hole, and you should get some decent receivers to fall back to. There goes Breece Hall, who, again, if you're drafting Breece Hall, you just want to temper expectations for the first month or so while he gets his legs and his knee right. As he gets his conditioning back up. Hopefully he gets into practice soon. I know he's still on the PUP list, but we'll see what can happen for Breece in the coming weeks. I don't think we're going to see him in the preseason. I do think we're going to see Javonte Williams in the preseason, though, so that sounds pretty likely to me. But I'm going to shift here. This pick's going to go through. It might be auto-picked here, but man, we get Olave, Higgins, and DK Metcalf all to fall to us. I'm pretty happy with this group. And if we're going to stick true to my rankings, I do have Olave and Metcalf ahead of Devonta Smith, which I guess I got ahead of Higgins. So I'm gonna grab Olave for sure. I really like him in the Saints offense. I think he's a stud 2nd-year player. We want to get him. And then the real question is between Higgins and Metcalf. Technically, I have Metcalf ranked ahead of Higgins in my projection, so I'm probably going to go with Metcalf. I do see the upside with T. Higgins, but I think they're overrating his receptions a little bit. 90 receptions compared to 81 for DK Metcalf. I think those could be flipped. So for me, this is a preference call. I think Metcalf's the number 1 receiver on the Seahawks. Higgins is the number 2 on the Bengals. I'm going to lean with Metcalf, but we're nitpicking there. I think both guys are ideal wide receiver 2s in fantasy this year. But I rolled the dice, and we got what we wanted. We got the board to fall to us and give us 2 fringe wide receiver 1s that I feel really strongly about. And again, if I go to my wide receiver rankings, I have Olave at 12. I have Metcalf at 13. I have Higgins down here at 16. And I got Higgins going for 79 receptions, almost 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. I have Metcalf for just a little bit more. So either way, though, I like both receivers quite a bit. And yeah, look at that. I mean, Devonta, Higgins, Olave, DK, all these guys fell here. I don't know if there's any other receivers I would have considered because there's kind of a drop off after this group to Amari Cooper. So you're going to roll the dice a little bit, but either way, I feel pretty good about what we were able to get for value at our spot. So now we have the well-balanced start. We do have a flex position to fill. I wouldn't mind grabbing 1 running back at the 5 or the 6. And again, like I mentioned, I'm totally cool with waiting for a quarterback to fall to us. We kind of want to be the last guy to take a QB. So I think that's probably the path we're on. I'd have to really consider, a Herbert, a Lawrence, or something like that at the 5-6 turn. But we'll see what happens. You see after T. Higgins go, T.J. Hawkinson, Amari Cooper, James Conner. Some of the running backs that I like, maybe at the 5-6 turn, it'll tell me here. I mean, I'm a big David Montgomery fan. I also really like Dallas Goedert. Christian Watson is probably a value at that spot. And Yahoo really likes Brandon Ayuk here. They have him projected really high. I also wouldn't mind DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, and some of these receivers to fall to us. But we'll see. Otherwise, I mean, Mike Williams is a baller in half PPR. Justin Herbert's here at 74. We could potentially stack those two guys. So I do like our options coming up for us. But we got a little bit of a running back run here with James Conner, Jahmyr Gibbs, Miles Sanders. I am a really big fan of the Lions offense. Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery, Jared Goff. I love all those players. Not as much excited about Jahmyr in a half PPR league. I want to see where I have him. I have him as my RB12 in a half PPR league, so I think that's probably a fair price in the 4th round for him here. Sanders, I have questions. J.K. Dobbins, of course, we have questions. We don't know if he's going to be back from the PUP list anytime soon, but kind of like Josh Jacobs and Jonathan Taylor, we kind of have to wait and see. Hopefully before you draft, we get some clarity on what's happening with those guys. But for now, I mean, if J.K. Dobbins returns to practice next week and he's good to go, man, like I really like him as a 4th round pick. And dang, Navi here in the 3-hole grabs Dallas Goedert in the 4th round to stack with Jalen Hurts, McCaffrey, and Josh Jacobs. So not getting Dallas Goedert on this team, that's okay. He is one of my favorite tight ends to draft, but I also have one more in my back pocket, and that's Darren Waller. If we want to grab a tight end, it would be him. And then honestly, one of my favorite, like this is probably the best running back value, I believe, in half PPR right now. It's Dameon Pierce. To get him at 411, I mean, I got Dameon Pierce as my RB10. I think he's in for a huge year. And to be honest, I think he could be a top 5 running back if he's more involved as a receiver. I did see some Twitter videos going around of him making some insane catches. So I really like Dameon Pierce. I think he's going to be the centerpiece of that offense for CJ Stroud. And then Deebo Samuel and Christian Watson here. So both half PPR receivers. I like that move a lot. Brandon Ayuk still on the board. So we'll see where he falls. And then Justin Herbert goes. So these guys, this is an interesting lobby. These guys aren't afraid to reach a little bit. So this looks like it's a pretty decent group of guys drafting in here. Nobody's really afraid to get what they need. So we're still a ways away. I'll start to peek ahead at what we could get when we're up. But Lamar Jackson's still on the board. Darren Waller, DJ Moore, fantastic players available here. Even Keenan Allen. I know even he just went, but in a half PPR, Keenan Allen's still a pretty good player. Personally, I'm really excited about Mike Williams. I know people kind of think of him as injury prone, but if you look at his game logs, he really hasn't missed a lot of games in his career. I know he always seems like he's, dealing with some kind of injury, but I think Mike Williams is set up to succeed this year and smash his ADP. Probably be a wide receiver 3 for sure, but he's probably going to finish as a top 24 wide receiver if he stays healthy. There goes Cam Akers. I kind of want to take a peek here and see what kind of players we're looking at here. I mean, I like Drake London. Lamar Jackson should have been gone by now. Jerry Jeudy's kind of cool. I don't mind McLaurin, but I really want to make sure I get Montgomery on this team. And then that's probably it. I think we could consider Justin Fields. I think Deontay's more of a half PPR player for me. But we'll get back to the draft board and let things fall where they may. DJ Moore, I'm starting to come around to DJ Moore being a pretty good pick. I think I like him more in full PPR, though. I just don't know how much volume the Bears are going to be throwing the ball. But either way, it's very clear to see DJ Moore is the number 1 for Justin Fields. So I do like DJ Moore quite a bit. But and especially, too, like I like pretty much every player as long as they're placed right on your roster. Like DJ Moore as a wide receiver 3 flex, that looks really good. As your wide receiver 2, I think that's lacking a little bit because, I mean, look at what he's going against. Amon-Ra, this guy's number 2. Keenan Allen's is number 2. Jalen Waddles is number 2. Devontae's is number 2. Cooper, Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf. I think DJ Moore lacks a little bit of that solid wide receiver 2 number, but he's going to be a pretty reliable player every week. You see Alexander Madison go to Thomas there at the 7 spot. Brandon Ayuk, which I'm a really big fan of Brandon Ayuk. It sounds like he's been an absolute stud in the 49ers training camp this summer, and even back in mini camps and OTAs. he was by far away the best player on the field, it sounded like. So I think I prefer Brandon Ayuk over Debo Samuel in pretty much most formats, maybe but standard. But half PPR, it's really close. I think it's a preference call, and I don't think they should be going that far apart in your drafts. But Terry McLaurin off the board. We're 2 picks away here, so we can begin to peek. I just want to see what this pick is going to be. Drake London, Lamar Jackson. So I'm on the clock here. I do get David Montgomery to fall to me, so I think that's going to be my pick. I have Montgomery ranked pretty highly. I got him in here as RB16. So I'm totally cool with him being my flex, and he's going to get a lot of touches. It's hard to argue. Let me look at receiver between Jerry Jeudy and Mike Williams. I got Mike at 18, Jerry Jeudy at 21. I think it's a coin flip. I mean, if you like Godwin or Hopkins, I'm fine with that too. Those are pretty much the only receivers I'm looking at here, but I want access into that Chargers passing offense. I mean, I think Mike Williams is, 11 to 1,200 yards, 7 to 8, maybe even more touchdowns. And what I hear from Mike is that they're moving him into the slot a little bit more this year, which is really good for his fantasy floor. I think most people would agree that he is kind of boom bust. When he gets out there, he's either going to get you 4 or 5 points or he's going to get you 20. I think his floor is going to be a little bit higher this year. So I like Mike Williams in this format. And now we have 3 good receivers. We have Metcalf, Olave, and Mike Will. Our running backs are Barkley, Pollard, and Montgomery. So we have a really well-balanced start. I think at this point we can probably just begin to continue to pull, value running backs, receivers, and we'll take a swing at quarterback and tight end eventually. But for now, I think we're fine with it. They still have Darren Waller available, but he's not listed. He's not listed until we pick here at that turn. So if we can get Darren Waller to fall to us, I think that's pretty dang good. If we don't get Waller, I mean, they have Pat Freiermuth ahead of Waller, which seems wrong. And I know a lot of people are nervous about Kyle Pitts. I'm still in on Kyle Pitts. I just don't know if I want to pull him at ADP. I'd rather have Darren Waller, especially with Yahoo's rankings here. Like, Darren Waller should not be this low. And he is projected more points than both those guys. If I filter by fantasy points here, it's Waller, Pitts, Ingram, Njoku, Freiermuth. So their ADP is a little bit wonky here. It should be Darren Waller a little bit higher than those guys here. So I'm going to hit ADP again, and we'll go back to all players. Let's go back to the draft board and see what's been brewing here. After I take Mike Williams, you got Isaiah Pacheco, Justin Fields, Jerry Jeudy, Godwin, Hopkins. There goes Kyle Pitts. There goes Deontay Johnson. We're probably going to be entering that point now where the running backs and receivers start to cool off a little bit, where we're not super excited about these guys. I do think there's still going to be some that we like quite a bit. Let me actually filter here by fantasy points. I mean, they got James Cook pretty high. I'm a big fan of Christian Kirk. I think he's an ideal wide receiver 3 or 4 for our bench. I do like Gabe Davis in a half PPR setting. It sounds like he's having a pretty good camp. And then for running backs, I love James Cook. I think he's a really fun player, but he's more of a half PPR guy. But look at them. They're giving James Cook 237 rushing attempts, 1,000 yards. That seems weird. They only have him at 30 receptions. That seems a little bit low. So they're a little bit off on their numbers. I do like Brian Robinson quite a bit as well here. But let's get back to the big board and see what's been moving around here. After Kyle Pitts, Deontay Johnson, Javonte Williams, Michael Pittman Jr., Christian Kirk. So we missed out on Kirk, unfortunately. He would have been a nice snag if you were to keep falling. But yeah, I don't really get why Calvin Ridley goes in the 3rd round and Christian Kirk goes in the 6th. That seems a little bit. They should be much closer. I think Ridley's a good player. He should probably be drafted in this Devonta T. Higgins area, to be honest with you. And then I like Christian Kirk enough where he should probably be going, by DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk. He's going to be a really steady wide receiver 3. So I'm really invested. I think that offense could be really heavy towards Kirk, Ridley, and everything stems off Trevor Lawrence here, who goes at 7.1. So we're entering the 7th round of our draft. And I will say this is probably one of the better Yahoo mocks that I've got going so far, because it looks like more people are making picks. You're not seeing as many guys duck in and out in doing the auto pick here. So hopefully we keep making picks and we don't see defenses and kickers off the board soon. But there goes Pat Freiermuth, a little bit rich for me in half PPR. Mike Evans and Darren Waller goes. So we missed my favorite tight ends for a floor here. We're probably going to have to we'll figure something out at the tight end room. Let me look and see what I got for you guys. I mean, Ingram and Njoku are kind of consolation prizes before it starts to get gross. So we'll monitor those two for sure. But otherwise, we're not going to have a top 5 tight end on this team. I'm okay with that. I like our running backs and our receiver depth so far. And as long as we can grab a quarterback at some point, I do want to see. So team 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These two guys don't have a QB yet, and he just took Deshaun Watson. So me and Thomas are the only guys without a QB yet. Let's continue just taking best player. I don't know why San Francisco defense is so high, or Justin Tucker. That seems pretty silly to me. Alvin Kamara, who's suspended, wouldn't be a terrible pick here. But I'm gonna grab James Cook. They do have him ranked pretty highly. I'm just gonna continue to fill out my running back depth here. The receiver position: Marquise Brown, George Pickens, Gabe Davis. I do like a lot of these players here. Let's just look at the tight end real quick. Njoku's here at 96, and then quarterbacks: Tua, Rodgers, Daniel Jones. Nobody really sticks out to me yet. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take another running back, and then I think we're kind of done at the position. I mean, we got some really good ones. So and that's one of the things that I like to do is I don't like to necessarily fill my starting lineup, pick for pick. I'm okay with just collecting depth. We now have 5 really good running backs. We got Saquon, Pollard, Montgomery, James Cook, and Brian Robinson. I think that's enough to get us, throughout the rest of the season. We have Cook and Robinson on our bench. That feels pretty good. Metcalf, Olave, Mike Williams. We do need some more receivers, but again, I'm thinking the wide receiver depth in this draft will be decent when we come back to us. Now you're starting to see some of those defenses go. San Fran, Dallas. Don't take a defense early, guys. I know it's popular to want to get one of the top rated defenses, but I think you can wait and get 1 or 2 defenses and make it work each week. I also like to play the waiver wire for defenses. So don't take a defense in the 8th round. You can still get league win, like Alvin Kamara. Yes, Tua Tagovailoa. Like take these league winning players over a defense. Tua Tagovailoa, Philly, New York Jets, Brandon Cooks, Buffalo Bills, and we'll see what they push back to us. Hopefully these guys are not auto picking. We'll see. I guess if they take a kicker next, whenever what's his name Tucker goes off. Look at you got 4 kickers ranked in the top 100. I personally don't get it. I mean, the fact that we can still get Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, like we can get these quarterbacks here that are going to get us 300 points on the year, and you can wait for these guys. It literally makes no sense to me why Yahoo's got these guys ranked so highly, or why their ADP is even that high to begin with. But New England D, Jamal Williams, and we are entering the 9th round. And hey, if you guys are still with me, don't forget to like the video. It helps people know that this is a good one and it should get pushed out to other people. Subscribe if you guys are new. We just hit 820 subs today, so we're on track. I'd love to hit 1,000 by the start of the football season. So hey, if you guys haven't subscribed, I'd be honored for your subscription. But it looks like this 9th round here might be a little bit of an auto round. Chico Conquo, Justin Tucker. Nice to see that. Hopefully this guy makes a decent pick here. But yeah, we're going to see some auto picks. Defenses and kickers are going to go, but then the draft should return to normal a little bit. And like I said, there's a lot of players that I still like left. Like AJ, like we don't need a running back, but Gabe Davis, George Pickens, Marquise Brown, even Michael Thomas, Traylon Burks, Jahan Dotson. We could get one of your favorite rookie receivers. We can get a Chiefs receiver. There's tons of receivers on the board here, and tight ends are still there. I mean, at this point, we're probably going to wait for a duo. I'm probably going to make a really janky duo at tight end, but we're up to pick here. I don't know who we missed. I'm going to collect the receivers here. Let's just grab Marquise Brown, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass on Marquise Brown just because I'm pretty nervous about that offense. Let me grab Gabe Davis for our wide receiver 4. And then, I mean, Roger, like there's a lot of good players here. I don't mind Daniel Jones as my QB1, but again, like I said, at this point, I'm totally cool with waiting. So I'm gonna grab Traylon Burks here. I like his talent a lot. I think in half PPR, that's kind of where he shines. He's going to be a deep threat for Ryan Tannehill, and he's going to get some softer coverages with the presence of DeAndre Hopkins. So our wide receiver room is Olave, Metcalf, Mike Williams, Gabe Davis, and Traylon Burks. So these are all big play players It feels pretty good here. We got a nice 5x5 going, and that's probably our depth that we need here. I'm going to grab for sure one QB, a tight end, and it says we have one bench spot left. So, but yeah, they're just giving us. If you wait for QB guys, you get Daniel Jones, Kirk, Geno Smith. Like these guys' numbers were top 10 last year. And you could argue that all of their offenses improved this year. If you like Rodgers, I get it. Rodgers is going to be a good player this year. He just doesn't have the rushing upside. Kirk Cousins doesn't really have the rushing upside either. But I like Kirk to be the touchdown leader of that group. Let's see what else is moving here. So yeah, you're seeing a lot of defenses and kickers kind of get mixed in here. But 10th round, I got two really good wide receivers in our back pocket. A good run on running backs here. I don't know why Zach Evans went at 10.9. Don't take Zach Evans. He should go undrafted. He's not even the backup running back for the Rams. But Damian Harris, A.J. Dillon, Khalil Herbert, Samaje Perine, all really good picks if you want to wait for a running back too. I think those guys are all in really good shape. Miami defense goes Jason Myers, Daniel Jones, and now we're on the auto pick bump. Let me see who else sticks out. We need a tight end. I think at this point, personally, I really, really like Jake Ferguson. Gerald Everett way down here. He shouldn't be down here. I mean, if you want to grab a Dalton Kincaid, you totally can. Tyler Conklin, like, if I want to grab two of these guys, I think I could get away with it. I'm going to grab a QB, though, with one of these picks, and then we'll grab one of our tight ends. There goes Geno. We missed on Daniel Jones, but look at the receivers in this round. Elijah, Michael Thomas, Addison, Smith-Njigba, Rashad Bateman, Tony. Some really good players here, but I'm going to grab Kirk Cousins, who's going to throw for 30-plus touchdowns, and he's going to score a lot of points. He's going to be, one of the top 5 leaders in yards, so that feels pretty good to me. And then not really liking the top-end players that are available here. Let's look at that tight end room. I'm going to grab Jake Ferguson, and let me try and sell you on Ferguson. I think he's going to be a breakout tight end candidate this year. I have him as my tight end 12. I have him at 80 targets, 58 receptions, 610 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Dalton Schultz has been a top 5 tight end in this offense, top 10 tight end in this offense the last 2 or 3 years. And it's very clear that Ferguson's been the guy all minicamp OTAs and into training camp. I know they have a 2nd-round pick there in Luke Schoonmaker, but he's just getting back from his foot. He's well behind in the offense. So I think Ferguson's the starting pass-catching tight end for the Dallas Cowboys this year. I'm going to grab another tight end, though, so we can kind of play it safe that way. And the other thing, too, is, like, I didn't mind waiting to grab a QB because, like, look at this. Like, I can grab Russell Wilson, even Kyler Murray. Like, I can grab a quarterback 2 off the waiver wire if Kirk Cousins is bugging me. But I feel really good about this team is deep. And you don't have to fill your starting roster with your first 7 or 8 picks. You guys should continue building depth. The team that you draft is not going to be the team that wins the championship. You're hoping to have at least, 10 of those pieces that you drafted still there, but don't get sucked into drafting players because you think you need to fill a starting spot. Let's grab another tight end here. I mean, I like Conklin quite a bit. It looks like Gerald Everett did go. I was kind of waiting for him. I don't mind Irv Smith Jr. here. I think he's a fun bet. But I'm going to grab Tyler Conklin. I think he's a guy that sounds like he's having a really good camp with Aaron Rodgers. Team defenses, we missed my favorite ones. I really wanted New Orleans Saints. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab the Steelers defense. I trust them. They're a pretty good defensive team. They're going to get into a lot of low-scoring games here. So we'll grab the Steelers defense late and then play the waiting game or the waiver wire game with defense. And then my last pick here with the kicker, I really don't care who it is. I'm looking for a guy indoors. Lately, my default has been Riley Patterson. You want to be attached to a really good offense that's going to score a lot of points. And the Lions do that. They're in a dome for 80% of their games, which seems pretty good. The Saints are another one that come to mind. The Vikings with Greg Joseph, another one. Otherwise, like, Dolphins are going to score points. The Patriots are going to kick a lot of field goals. So I feel good about that. I don't know what Nick Folk's up to, but I'm just going to grab one of these dome kickers and call it a day. But I don't know. That's my draft. We started off with Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard at the beginning of the draft. DK Metcalf and Chris Olave fell to us at the 3-4 turn. We came back with David Montgomery and Mike Williams at the 5-6. Round 7 and 8, we grabbed 2 more running backs, James Cook and Brian Robinson, and then we said we were done. We came back and got 2 more receivers, Gabe Davis and Traylon Burke. So we're 5 deep at each position. So again, I think the strongest team after the draft is the team with the best bench, because your bench is going to get tested at some point, and you need to make sure you have the answers for it. Clearly, our tight end's a weak spot, Ferguson and Tyler Conklin. We'll figure that out. We have ton of tight ends in the waiver wire. It seems like every year there's a tight end that comes out of nowhere to be a top 5 or top 10 guy. So if I miss on, the Wallers and the Goddards, I'm basically going to be the last guy to take a tight end. So in this strategy, we took tight end last and we took QB last. But guess what? We still ended up with Kirk Cousins, who's a 4,500-yard passer, 30 touchdowns on his season. He's attached to Justin Jefferson and all those good players in the Minnesota offense. So feels pretty good. We'll grab Will Lutz here and let's call it a day. That was my Yahoo mock draft from the 12th overall pick, half PPR, 12-team league. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. And hey, if you guys have any questions or want to see a custom mock draft, let me know. Just, if you want to see a mock draft, 12 teams, tell me what draft position you need. Tell me if it's Yahoo, ESPN, Sleeper. Tell me all the league information, and I can simulate a mock draft for you guys to help you get ready. But either way, that's going to do it for me. Enjoy the rest of the week, guys. We'll see you in a future video. And hey, Wednesday night, 6 p.m., come hang out for the live ESPN mock draft. Again, if you want to join that mock draft, I do post the lobby link 15 minutes before the show starts. So that would be at 5:45 p.m. Central Time if you want to join it. So we'll see you guys there. Have a good night. Peace.